In this tutorial, I will teach you how to make a realistic looking 1x1 Rubik's Cube out of Legos, but if you can find like a wooden block or a plastic block, that will make it much easier on you. But it needs to be 1 inch by 1 inch so that it'll be in proportion to the rest of the Rubik's Cubes. But in this tutorial, I will just teach you how to use Legos. What you'll need is super glue, an X-Acto knife, sandpaper, black paint, and preferably nail polish because it's cheaper and you don't need to clean the brush. A Rubik's Cube with the Rubik's Cube logo on it, just in case you want to put the logo on your 1x1. A printer and scanner, and mine are both built together. A computer with Microsoft Office Publisher on it, and I will be using the 2007 version, though if you don't have that, you can use Paintbrush. But with Publisher, I can scan in the image, and then import it in, and then print out the stickers at the precise size that they need to be. So if you are using Paintbrush, you will also need a ruler. But I will not be needing one, and I will tell you the size that the stickers will need to be later on. Scissors. A paper cutter, although scissors will work for this, but the stickers will turn out straighter if you use a paper cutter. Clear packing tape, and a glue stick. So now that you know what all you'll need, let's get on to the tutorial. First, go through your Legos and find a bunch so that you can connect them into a nice block like this. It needs to have a small layer on the bottom, 2 thick layers in between, and a thin layer on top. Okay, so here are the Legos that make it up. Now, you want to get a 3x3 base like this, although you can use a Lego like this, a 4x1 flat, and then use the X-Acto knife and cut off this part. Don't worry, the whole part that will show will just be covered up by the stickers that you put on it. So take your super glue right here, and you want to glue the Legos together as you build it, because you are going to be cutting off the studs on the top and the notches on the bottom of these, and you want to make sure that the block is nice and strong. Okay, and then just put this Lego on top. More super glue. And then I was able to use these 2 pieces that I can fit together like that and put on. And then for these pieces. And again, if you can't find some specific Legos that I use, you may need to do some cutting on some other ones to build this. Okay, so now we want to cut off the studs on the top. Now be very careful with this. I have cut myself many times doing it. So just cut it off like this. Okay, so when you got all the studs cut off, it's time for you to cut off these notches on the bottom. This is a little tougher to do. Okay, now that seems to be good enough, and look at all this skin that I've kind of cut into. Not bleeding, but oh well. Okay, so now that you cut off that bottom part, it looks more like a cube now rather than a tower, which is what it did before. So now, take your sandpaper, and I've got a little pink plastic dust from something else I was sanding onto before, and then just sand down all the sides, and the edges of corners, of course. Okay, so once you got this side and this side sanded down, you can go ahead and sand down the edges and corners. Well, actually, I'm going to go ahead and use my X-Acto knife to cut down the edges. It'll make things a little easier and faster. Okay, now to smooth them down a lot, I just like to scrape the X-Acto knife over it. Or you can use the sandpaper, whatever. I think I'll go ahead and use the sandpaper. Okay, now that I have all the edges and corners sanded down, I can begin painting it. Okay, for the painting, I am going to go ahead and lightly glue these two pieces to the tops and bottoms of it so that I can paint all of the rest, because it's not really necessary to paint in the middle because the stickers will just cover that up. There, that'll make things easier. So go ahead and start painting it. Okay, now that should be good enough. And now we'll go on to the stickers. In Microsoft Office Publisher, you want to make something that looks like this. So you want to have these little boxes with each individual color, and it needs to measure 3/16 of an inch. That is just 1/16 more than 3/4, or 2.1 centimeters. So when you've grouped them all together like this, and I put this gray background so that I can distinguish the white one, and so that I can cut them all evenly. So after you get all of this done, you can go ahead and scan the Rubik's Cube into your computer. After you have scanned the image in the Publisher, go ahead and crop it down. Okay, crop just right there. Crop like that. There, so now that we have the logo, we can paste this in where the white sticker will go. Although if you want to crop it down even more to take out all of this white stuff, you can use Edit Text Wrapping right here, and this way you can crop down points and such. And I have already got one over here, cropped down, and I was able to scan it in high resolution. So I will be using this one, but you can use this as the sticker if you want to, it doesn't matter. Okay, so now that we've got that all settled in, we can go ahead and print. Okay, now take your clear packing tape and cut some off, and then just put it right over the stickers. And that will give them the nice shiny feel. And now to cut them out. Okay, now after you're done cutting them out, make sure that you don't have any other colors like on the border of it. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut that off. There. Now if you really want to take the time, you can use your scissors and round off each corner. So just very carefully just snip off the corners so that they look nice and rounded. Just like that. And then just do that for all the rest of the corners. Now I have all the corners cut off, and I can glue them onto it here it is. And the nail polish seems pretty dry on this right now, so I will get these off. There. And then just go ahead and start gluing on the stickers, and you may want to get your Rubik's Cube pack so that you just know how to put them on. So just take your glue stick now and wipe some glue onto the other side and stick it on there. And there we go, a nice realistic looking 1x1 Rubik's Cube. There. So this cube turned out alright, although I think I sanded down the edges a little too much because the stickers are kind of sticking out too little, so go easy when sanding down the edges and such. But other than that, it turned out pretty good. And join me next time, and we'll take on the next level. But I will not be showing you guys how to make a 2x2x1, just because it would be just too much for me to make another one, much less show how to do it in another video. So your best bet is to get some mini 2x2s from like a website like cubeforyou.com, and then to glue like these two corners together, these two corners, and those two corners, and then extend them with something like Legos. So that way you'll be able to have a nice 2x1x1. But just making the parts out of Legos is really hard to do. Have you ever wondered what would happen if you clicked on that little yellow button to the right of my videos? Let's find out. You may not subscribe to yourself. Well, it doesn't look like I have that privilege, so it's up to you. Have a click on it. Why not?